Well, hey there. Welcome back to another episode of Ask Amanda Anything. These are my weekly bite-sized videos where I answer your questions about resumes, cover letters, and job search strategy. So this question came in from a future nurse practitioner or a future nurse practitioner hopeful, I guess. And the question was, any tips for choosing a nurse practitioner program, for picking a nurse practitioner program? And yeah, I definitely have some tips to share. And I'm going to go through them kind of one by one so that you can be equipped with some quality information so that you know how to vet or how to research nurse practitioner programs that you're applying to and choose the best fit for you. So the first thing that I would recommend kind of on this checklist, and you may, I'll back up. The first thing you may want to do is create some sort of checklist or some sort of spreadsheet or tracking system for your research, because that will really help you kind of put all the information in one place and look at it and make good objective decisions, decide, what to cross off, decide what's a good fit. It'll be able to give you kind of a side-by-side comparison. So the first thing that's like a non-negotiable is that the school that you choose needs to be accredited. Okay, it needs to be an accredited nurse practitioner program, and it really should have not had any issues recently with accreditation. There is a situation that there's a school in New York City, a nurse practitioner program, in December, I think it was, that unfortunately lost its accreditation and has left a bunch of nurse practitioner students wondering, what to do in terms of graduation, whether they should transfer, whether they can complete their program, and even newly graduated nurse practitioners who are kind of struggling to figure out whether they will be able to be eligible for licensure in their state. So I don't want that to happen to you. So choosing a program with a history of strong accreditation that doesn't have any accreditation question marks and hasn't had any major issues with accreditation is really important. And that's going to come from doing a good Google search, because not every program is going to say on their website, we are not accredited, right? Because that's not something they're going to want to advertise. So you need to kind of Google search the name of the program plus accreditation and see if there are any red flags there. So that's number one, accreditation. Number two is you may want to look into or ask about their pass rates for board exams. High quality programs are going to turn out high quality NPs who pass their board exams mostly on the first try and have a very high pass rate. So that is something that programs usually will make public. So you can go to their website, you can see if they have it posted, or you can go to an open house event virtually, or even email and ask for information about, student success and student pass rates, because that's important. You want a program that's going to prepare you not only for practice, obviously, but for your board exam, because that's the first barrier you're going to have other than graduation to be able to practice. The third thing that I think is a really important thing to consider is whether or not the programs coordinate your clinical sites. Now, back when I was a student, this is 10 years ago now, I went to a brick and mortar program, so it was not an online school, it was in person, and they coordinated 100% of our clinical sites. As a result, we were assigned clinical sites. We were in clinical sites that were visited regularly by our faculty. There was a whole kind of quality improvement process that they monitored the quality of our clinical sites. They surveyed us, made sure that we were getting high quality clinical education, because your hands-on training is really going to be the foundation of your success as an NP. I know I talked about board exams, and that is so super important, but it's how you are able to apply that knowledge that will really set you up for success in your first job. And that all comes from the quality of your clinical experiences. So if you can pick a program that coordinates and monitors and evaluates your clinical sites, you will be really better off. That said, there are many programs these days that do not offer that. So figuring out whether or not this is something that's going to be an option for you. If they don't offer clinical sites, you may want to kind of get the inside scoop from current students about how difficult it was to get their own clinical sites. Or because a lot of these are distance programs, you need to know in your community, are there nurse practitioners who are taking nurse practitioner students? Are people willing and able to precept? Because if it's your responsibility, then you're going to be doing all that outreach and all that coordination, which sometimes can be as hard as trying to find a job, right? Like there's not, a website where people publicly say that they're looking for students. You have to do a lot of different networking, or there are programs you can pay for that'll match you with clinical sites, which are also, great options. And if you're not able to kind of coordinate things on your own, then that may be the next step, is to pay for a matching service. So that's tip number 3, clinical site coordination. And the last thing that I will say really has to do with the research that you're going to do. I want you to beware of programs that have reputations for being diploma mills or places that have a really poor reputation online. It's really sad that I have to even say this, that, I really think that nurse practitioner programs should be all standardized and well respected to the point where you don't really have to wonder whether they have a really poor reputation. But the reality is there are programs that really vary in quality. So whichever programs you are looking into, I want you to Google like the program name plus diploma mill, or program name plus, reputation. Join some of these large Facebook groups, which aren't my favorite place, but you can at least search all the posts by the name of the program you're considering and see what comes up, see what people are talking about in real life about these programs, because obviously programs are going to show you their best kind of angles. But because of the quality concerns there have been about certain nurse practitioner programs, you want to make sure that you are doing your own research here. So those are my 4 big tips. Number 1, make sure your program is accredited and has no accreditation concerns or issues. Number 2, look at the pass rates for board exams for the programs you're considering. Number 3, strongly recommend programs that coordinate your clinical sites for you. And number 4, beware of diploma mills or any programs that have a bad reputation online. Love to hear your thoughts on this video, or any further questions. You can leave them in the comments. And until next week, I'll catch you on another episode of Ask Amanda Anything.